He will be part of the worldwide leaders' coverage of the NBA draft, as he always is, so expertly. One of our favorites of all time on this program. Joining us on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line from the worldwide leader in sports is none other than Jay Bilas. How are you, Jay?
You know, Rich, I prefer integral part, but you introduce me however you like.
You know what? I haven't written it down, so I could write it down. Integral part. That's a very, very good Duke word right there. Integral part. I am writing that down.
Yeah, my mother prefers indispensable, but okay. I don't want to go too far.
Understood. You're a humble man. It's very hard to, you stay humble when you're stunting on the ESPN Jumbotron. I understand that. So where are you in New York yet? Are you there? Where are you?
Yeah, we're in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
The Brooklyn Marriott staring out at a beautiful skyline of 6-story buildings.
So what are you expecting tomorrow night? You're expecting Gonzaga to give us something first? Is it Chet Holmgren? Is that where we're going first tomorrow night? What do you think?
The first thing, Rich, I'm expecting is solid sort of liquid intake management on my part, because this is my 20th draft, and it becomes more difficult to go 6 hours without taking a leak than it used to be. So tomorrow is going to definitely be a very much a dry day until after the draft.
Smart
I don't
move.
have to exit. Yeah, I don't have to exit the desk in a hurry. But yeah, it's going to be. I think the top three are pretty solidified. I mean, I still think there's a chance that I think a lot of people are expecting Jabari Smith of Auburn to go number 1 to Orlando. I happen to agree with that, but I don't discount the possibility that Chet Holmgren of Gonzaga goes number 1. That's somewhat of a coin flip to me. And then Paolo Banchero, I think, is locked in at number 3 to Houston. And Sacramento has the 4th pick. And I think Jaden Ivey of Purdue will be the 4th pick. Now, whether Sacramento keeps that pick or not, we'll see. But I think that's the top 4, and then really I think what happens at number 5 is what really starts the people questioning whether it's the right move or not.
So let's take it a couple at a time right here. You just mentioned it's your 20th NBA draft, and you've been watching drafts forever and a day. Before all that, has there ever been a first overall pick, let's just say in Chet Holmgren, who then gets worked out by his new strength and conditioning coach on the spot, on the stage? Has that ever happened before, Jay?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like when Kevin Durant came out in 2007, and we got all wrapped up in the fact that at the combine he couldn't lift 185 pounds. And we were like, oh, my God, he can't do this. And it's like, they don't stop the game for a bench press contest. He'll be fine. Right. And he's turned out to be better than fine. And the same thing with Holmgren. Like, he's got a Sean Bradley body, which doesn't sound good, given that Sean Bradley, rest in peace, was not a great NBA player. But the game's changed, and Holmgren's a different player. He's not a low-post big guy. He's a perimeter player he's kind of a baby Giannis in the way he plays, except he shoots it way better than Giannis. He's a 40% three-point shooter, and he really can grab a rebound and bring the ball up with guard skills. He can pass it, can spin in the lane and finish with either hand. I mean, he's a fantastic talent, and I don't think there's going to be a problem for that body in the league. It's just I've had a mental hurdle to get over. It's like my old man Neanderthal basketball brain kind of looks at that body going, wow, how's that going to hold up in the NBA? And the NBA is not a tough man contest. In fact, some of the power forwards that used to play in the league and were the big tough players probably wouldn't be in the league right now because they're not coveted. They might make a team, but they wouldn't be starters like they were because they can't stretch the floor and shoot it. And, the game's really changed in that regard. And Holmgren, I think, is a reflection of that kind of change. He's a perimeter big guy. He's not a low post guy. So
we were, while you were talking about him, we were showing a couple pictures on the screen from, Gonzaga's season. While we're just on the subject matter of Gonzaga, are you surprised that Drew Timme earlier this month withdrew and said, I'm going back to school for a senior year? Were you surprised by that?
Not really. He did the same thing last year, and I don't know. It's easy to say he enjoys college or all that. He'll be the player of the year this next year, just sort of as he was right there for it this year. He probably looks at his experience as being some unfinished business as far as winning a national championship. They could have done it a couple of years ago. They had a chance last year and got knocked out before the Sweet 16, or before the Elite Eight, which hardly ever happens with them. I don't know all the reasons he came back. I'm, selfishly glad I get to watch him another year because he's a fantastic player to watch.
I've got Jay Bilas here on the Rich Eisen Show. So who's got the biggest upside? Is it Holmgren? I mean, to use the draft parlance right here in the NBA.
Yeah, the parlance of our time. So he has the highest ceiling, but Jabari Smith of Auburn is right there with him, and I liken Smith to even though this is blasphemy to say it, but he reminds you a little bit of Durant with what a magnificent shooter he is. He shoots 42% for three, made 79 threes on the year. And, he's one of just a few players in the last 25 years to have scored 500 points. I think it's 250 rebounds and hit over 75 threes. And one of them's Kevin Durant. The other was Dante Green from Syracuse. And so it's been a long time since Dante Green. But the fact there's only been three in the last 25 years shows you and me that he's a super talented player. He's also very good defensively. Like, he could switch and guard multiple positions. He can block shots. He rebounds defensively at a high rate. I think he's the real deal. But I can understand, if Holmgren pans out to be an all-star player, which I think he will, then it's a question of not so much was it the right decision, it's was it the best decision. Because Adrian Wojnarowski said this yesterday, there could be two right decisions here, and I think that's a fair way to put it. But you know how it is. Like, whichever player is better, you're going to look back, and if Orlando takes the second best player first, we're going to look back in 10 years and just hammer their decision here, even though it's a coin flip.
Similar to the way that we're hammering the decisions of the Sixers and Lakers before Jason Tatum right now. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, very much so. And look, how many drafts have we had in any sport where a player further down the line has turned out to be the better player? And football gets 4 and 5 years to look at those guys in college. Basketball gets a year for the best ones. And so it's a little more of a difficult task to determine, to separate out productivity from potential and trying to project where somebody's going to be in 5 years, 10 years versus, what they look like now. And look, I mean, it's difficult. It's not impossible, but I have a lot of respect for those decisions and how difficult they can be. Jay
Bilas here on the Rich Eisen Show, getting set to be an integral part of the ESPN draft coverage on Thursday night. Did I say that right? You did. I'm a little bothered by the whole Rich Eisen Show thing. I mean, it's so much about you, and it's not really a we thing with you, is it? Well, I'll bite. What do you mean, Jay? What are you saying?
It's not. It always used to rankle me when SportsCenter anchors, of which you were an outstanding one.
Thank you.
Would throw to game day and say, now let's go out to Reese and the guys. And I'm like, screw you. How about Jake, Seth Greenberg, LaFonso Ellis, and the host?
Yes.
They don't say that.
Right.
Very disappointing. But you don't even have, it's not even Rich Eisen and the guys. It's just the Rich Eisen Show. Look at me.
Well, no, it's called
it's
called a radio reset. And on top of it, Jay, I mean, my gosh, talk about harboring 2 decades of resentment.
It's longer than that.
I mean, that was almost Tommy Pham-like going and slapping Jock Peterson months after the fact. I mean, my gosh, I didn't.
It just didn't occur. To me. I mean, you got the silhouette of yourself. I mean, there's not even anybody in the background watching you run with your suit on.
That's true. These are all facts, Jay. Guilty as charged.
Wait, should we be on the side?
I just used his preferred adjective and setting him up. No, and
I appreciate it. You're making strides, but boy, that Rich Eisen Show thing. Long way to go. Long way to go.
Jay Bilas.
A lot of upside there.
Jay Bilas, who's more than just a guy, as talking about the NBA draft here on the Rich Eisen Show. So who is the name of the European guy that fans are not familiar with and they're pissed off that the team is going to draft tomorrow night, but then they'll love him once he starts playing for the team? Who's that guy in this draft tomorrow night?
There aren't a ton of internationals in this draft that are going to be taken in the first round. There's a big guy, 6'11", Nikola Jokic from Serbia. There's going to be a number of people that call him Jokic by mistake, but really talented player that's very versatile and can knock threes down. I guess you'd say that's stereotypical of what you call an international big guy now, but it's true of players, period. If you can't, it doesn't matter your size. If you can't shoot it, you're not valued as highly anymore because you've got to be able to stretch the floor. It's a spread floor game now, but he's probably the one that'll stand out in the first round, and there may be some sort of draft and stash players in the second round. There's only 58 guys getting drafted this year, oddly enough. There's usually 60 because there are 30 NBA teams, but two slots late in the second round got forfeited. And I don't know what the forfeit policy is. What the team said.
That's the phrase that the NFL used in reference to the first rounder. The Patriots forfeited in the Deflategate. That's a word. That's a word, Brockman, right? You and all your New Englanders, you have a problem with that word, forfeited.
Sure, it was forfeited. Got it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that. I don't know what that's about.
Stolen.
I'm not. As you know, words can be fungible items. Jay, you know that, right?
Yeah, I prefer vacated. Forfeited. You vacated it.
That's another way to put it.
But vacated indicates it was voluntarily given up.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so there's 58 the 58 draft choices. I mean, that's a quicker night for you.
Isn't forfeit voluntary? You don't forfeit by accident.
That's true too. By the way, don't mess with words with Jay Bilas. He's gonna parry and thrust the whole time. Don't worry about it.
I'm just still mad about it.
This is a man who once put Barney on the stands, as we know here on the Rich Eisen Show, and the guys here on our program.
See how easy that was? That's what Jay's point.
Shout out to Jay for looking out.
No,
appreciate you, Jay.
Hey, Jay, you're also our Duke whisperer. So before I let you go into your Brooklyn afternoon and evening, John Rothstein's podcast, College Hoops Today, had Coach K on, and this is what he had to say about attending Duke games coming up this fall.
John knows I'm here. I won't be able to go to any games, not because he doesn't want me there or I don't want to be there, but, there's no place in Cameron where you can, a box or something where you can just get away from the maddening crowd. So that's going to be frustrating because I'd like to be there, but I also don't want to be in the way. And
so you don't plan on going to any Duke games next year?
No, unless it could be on the road.
Right.
If it's in a venue that has, a box, someplace where that's a distraction. I don't want to be a distraction, and I don't need for people to see me.
Okay.
I've been seen enough, and but I do behind the scenes want John to always know, and I think he does know this. In fact, I know he knows this, that I'm there if he needs me at any time.
So, what did you make of that, Jay? Surprised by that? Not surprised? What do you think?
I'd heard him say that he wasn't going to go to the games. I hadn't heard the box theory that because Duke would build a skybox tomorrow if he wanted to go to the game. I don't think he wants to be the distraction, frankly. And that when John Wooden retired at UCLA, he sat in the stands. And I'm not sure that was as helpful when people might not be happy with the coach looking at arguably at that time the greatest coach of all time, maybe still, and saying, "Wait a minute, can you take a few steps down to the floor?" That's not maybe it's not about. I don't know, but I think the truth is, Rich, that he's got pickleball games scheduled, and because that's what's going to happen is Coach K is going to rise up the level of ranked pickleball players. He and his wife is a doubles combo. Mickey, I think pickleball. He's not a shuffleboard guy. He doesn't play golf.
Wow.
He used to play racquetball and tennis, so I think the natural thing for him now is to rise up the ranks in pickleball.
You have no idea into the troubled waters into which you have unwittingly waded,
Rich,
Jay.
do you know how old Coach K is?
Because
He's 75.
I play pickleball and enjoy it. It's a hell of a workout. It's great. I love it. And Brockman thinks it's for people of a certain age, and the fact that you just used it in the same sentence as a 70-some-odd-year-old man.
75.
And also shuffleboard.
That's what's next for you, bud.
I don't know what else to say other than that's wrong.
Well, I'm sure, Rich, you're an outstanding pickleball player.
Yes.
Given your athleticism, I've seen you run with a suit on. Very few guys do it as gracefully as you do.
Yes.
But I think Coach K would kick your ass on a pickleball court. He's got a level of competitiveness that, frankly, I'm not sure, as competitive as you are, you'd be able to sniff. And look, I'm not sure. Maybe your pickleball play with Susie is all about you as well.
Yes.
Whether it's just your name on the pickleball court, nobody else's. I'm hoping that when I see your logo for the Rich Eisen Show, that there'll be some other silhouettes in there going forward.
No.
Because you're propped up by an outstanding crew there that doesn't get. I mean, it gets a lot of credit from your listeners, but clearly not from the host.
Look, Jay, this is all very slanderous, and
Jay to that.
And plus, there's no officials. There's no officials that Coach K will be able to work and make afraid of him. It'll be an even playing court. So I don't know if he'll be able to handle any of that smoke.
Oh, he's got a direct line down to the officials' locker room, so that won't be a problem. He'll be able to intimidate them just with his former presence in the building. I don't think that'll be a problem.
Damn. I did not expect the answer to the question that I said. I even had the soundbite cut and everything. I played it for the guest.
Set him up for
I
it.
set it up. And then I just had no idea the broadside was part of this thing.
Jay, I also thought you were going to say Coach K doesn't want to go to the games because he's going to be coaching this year. So he's already going to be in the building.
I think he's done. I think he's done with all that stuff. But I would like to see him go to the games if he wants to.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he's able to do anything that he used to do when he was just a normal Joe. Like, I don't think he goes to the grocery store. He goes out to dinner, but it's usually a private room type thing when he goes to dinner. And I can't remember. I don't think he knows any of the rules for commercial air travel anymore. Liquids and all that stuff, because I don't think he's been in a commercial airport in 20 years. But I know, I think he'd like to go to the games, but I do think it'd be a distraction. People be looking at him, trying to get his autograph and all that stuff. It's kind of like when you go to games, Rich, in the studio.
Jay is on fire today.
All right, Jay. I appreciate. I see you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night with who's on the set with you. I'm really keen to know who you were on the set with tomorrow night.
Who cares? It's called the NBA Draft with Jay Bilas.
No, that's right. You'll be bringing your thesaurus for Woj to tip his picks with different ways of saying the words about to select. I love that. That's my favorite part of the night. Is his Twitter feed like that? That's good stuff.
My favorite part is looking at Twitter to see the drinking games that get established every time I say wingspan, which is going to be a lot in this draft. The amount of drunk people watching, there will be faces hitting the floor before the 10th pick.
Well, what's the over-under on Chet Holmgren's wingspan mentions? That's got to be what? We'll set that at 3.5? What do you think? just for Chet Holmgren alone.
Easily. Like one year after these drinking games were established, I did not say the word wingspan the whole draft. I came up with other things. I would say, great linear extent in space and things like that. Wow. And the whole draft, I didn't say it one time. I can't remember how long ago that was. But that was a tremendous sort of
huge
tremendous challenge on my part.
Huge upset. All right, Jay, I look forward to watching you tomorrow night. Hit him straight after all that, and then when you're back here in L.A., let me know. I'd love to have you up here, as always, in person. Thanks for the call, Jay.
Looking forward to it, Rich. I'll be there. Thanks,
you got it. That's Jay Bilas right here on the Rich Eisen Show with Chris Brockman, T.J. Jefferson, and Jason Feller.
Thank you.
And not Mike Del Tufo.
What an all-star appearance from
he was feeling it.
Jay Bilas.